Welcome back to R Programming 101. So this is the channel for R enthusiasts. Today we're looking at ggplot and we're taking a slightly deeper dive. In other words, this is sort of advanced, or we might say intermediate, but we're building up to advanced ggplot. So this is for data visualization. ggplot is, in my opinion, without question, the best package on any platform, in any software for doing data visualization. You've got so much control over what it is that your plots and your graphics look like. I mean, you can create layers. So now I'm talking to people that if you haven't tried ggplot before, you might want to go and watch some other videos of mine that kind of introduce you to it. You may want to watch this just to get a sense of where you can go with ggplot, but really we're going to go quite quickly into the nuts and bolts, the nitty gritty of some of the subtleties, some of the nuance in your data visualization. On this YouTube channel, we're creating R programming videos on everything. So if you look at what I've got on the screen at the moment, there's a couple of things that I've done here that I'm going to teach you today. Firstly, we've done some faceting, right? And I'll show you this data set that I'm using. Everybody's got access to this data set. It's part of the car package. Once you've installed that, you've got the data on your computer. You can practice and replicate what it is that I'm doing at home on your computer. So please do. That's the best way to learn. Right. If you look at the plot that I have on the screen right now, and I'm going to show you the code for this in just a second, but let's look at where we're going. There's a couple of things that I've done here that I really want to teach you. The first is we've done faceting, but in two directions, right? So we've created plots with agriculture and biology. So really what this is it's looking at the number of years since a PhD and the salary of academics. So as you progress year-wise in terms of working at a university, to what extent has your salary gone up? And that may differ by discipline. So we've got agriculture and biology here, and it may differ by sex. So we've got males and females, and we've disaggregated them because you've got females working in agriculture and biology, and you've got males working in agriculture and biology, and we've got them all in their nice little quadrant. So we've done faceting in two directions, horizontally and vertically, and I'm going to show you how to do that. A couple of other things that I've done here. If we look at the original data set, and we're going to talk more about this data set in a minute. We've got a few variables here. Rank. Okay, we've colored our plot by plot points by rank. That's fine. That's not important for the sake of this video, of course. But discipline, you'll see here, discipline is A, B's, and C's. But here in the headings, we've got agriculture and biology. All right, so we've had to do something in the coding to make sure that the label that exists in our facets, and in actual fact, we've really just, you can change the data itself from A's and B's to agriculture and biology. I don't even know, from the original data set that this comes from, if A equals agriculture and B equals biology. I was just using that as an example. Right, let's jump right into some of the coding. Now, if I scroll up, you'll see the coding that I've done here. I'm doing this in R Studio, and this might look a little bit unfamiliar to you. And the reason is you can use R Markdown and Quarto as there are these basically these features within R Studio whereby you can create code in these little chunks and then run them one chunk at a time. And then you can also output this as a PDF or a Word document, etc. So that's for another lesson, but that's just it's a nice way of writing the code for a lesson like this. In the first instance, and I'll tell you a little bit about this as we go along. So when you work in R Markdown, if you say echo equals false, it means that when I render this, there's a little render button there, and I push render and I output this, what I've written here as a PDF, echo equals false means it's not going to include this code in the actual PDF. Whereas over here, where I've got a chunk of R code, there's no echo equals false. So this code will actually appear in the PDF itself. And as you can imagine, what I'm wanting to do with these sorts of lessons is make these PDFs available for people to use as cheat sheets. What have I got here? Library equals tidyverse. Of course, we're working in the tidyverse. We always do. The tidyverse is a package that expands the vocabulary of R. It's a number of packages combined. If you don't know what I'm talking about, believe me, you need to find out about the tidyverse. Next, car. This is the package that I've installed that has the data set that we're going to work with. Forcats, actually, I was going to use forcats in the analysis. I decided not to, so we could delete that. Gone. This is quite nice. So you've seen me use theme set before. If you do theme set early on in your code for your ggplots, whatever theme you set here will apply to all of your plots. So you can change it once, and every plot you produce in the code thereafter will have the same themes applied for it. Black and white theme is lovely. I usually use that. I think it's nice and neat and crisp. But look at this. You can, in the same way, in ggplot, you use the plus and you add in another theme or another you add in a code that kind of does more manipulation of your plot. Well, you can do that right here in theme set. Put a plus, and here I've got theme title equals element text, color equals steel blue. It's kind of quite a nice color, and face equals bold. What that's doing is it's saying all of the titles, axis titles and the main title of the plot are going to be in a particular color and are all going to be in bold. And that's going to apply to any plot that I produce in the following code. Because I'm just producing one plot now, you could have put this code into that plot, but I wanted to show you this feature of theme set. I think it's lovely, and I think we should use it all the time. It's a very clever way of coding. Right, let's jump right into the code itself. The salaries, I've shown you the salaries data set. There it is. Now, what I've done here, one of the great features of ggplot is you can pipe in your data set after having done a bit of manipulation ahead of time. So before salaries gets piped into ggplot, I'm going to do something to it, and in this case, I'm going to take the A and B, which are the discipline variable has got these two factors, A and B, and I'm saying, firstly, I'm setting the levels A and B, so A becomes before B. That sometimes is important, sometimes not. And secondly, I'm giving each of these a label, and I'm calling it agriculture and biology. Okay, so that basically why when I create the plot down here, you see agriculture and biology and not A and B. There's different ways of doing this, by the way. You could use recode, so mutate equals discipline equals recode discipline, blah, blah, blah. You could use recode. You can use some of the features in forcats, which is really nice. There's different ways of doing this. This is just, this is just one way. And then let's jump right into the ggplot. Right. As usual, we've got ggplot. We don't have to define the data because the data is being piped in, right? Obviously. The aesthetics, years since PhD, ggplot always assumes that your first argument in the aesthetic, this is the mapping, is the x-axis, and the second argument is the y-axis, right? So our x-axis, as we can see here, number of years since PhD. I've changed the label, but you can see that that's the same thing. And current salary we've got is y equals salary. So we've got our x and y axis sorted there. Then a little plus that just sort of says we're going to add in another layer here. Now, quickly just note with me here, geom point. So these are all the little data points that we've popped around on the graph down there. Geom point, I'm doing the color equals rank as an aesthetic in the geom pointer. And the reason for that is, and I've said this in other videos, if you define this aesthetic, color equals rank, up here in the original ggplot aesthetics, it will apply that to every single layer that you produce thereafter. Because we've got a geom smooth over here as another layer, it would apply the color equals rank to that as well, and we wouldn't want that. It would try to draw multiple lines. We don't want that, so we define this mapping in this particular geometry. It's one of the great features of ggplot, the fact that you can define aesthetics within particular geometries and then create your layer over layer over layer. This is the reason why you can create such amazing data visualizations. So I've got color equals rank, and that's what's happening down here. We've changed the name of rank here to position to make it a bit better, but each of these data points is colored as a function of what rank or position that particular person is in the university: associate professor, assistant professor, and professor, right? Then alpha equals 5. I just made each dot a little bit more transparent. I think it just makes the visualization a little bit easier on the eye. Geom smooth are these lovely little smooth linear models with a standard error around them that it's popped onto each of the graphs. Okay, until now, this is all probably pretty straightforward. Now, facet grid. Now, there's different kinds of facets you can create. Facet grid is the one that I'm teaching you today, and this is the one where you can have different headings for the columns and for the rows. You're doing a 2 by 2. You're creating these quadrants. Okay, so so facet grid, sex by discipline. So we've got sex is the rows here, and discipline are the columns, and we create these 4 quadrants. Okay, so easy peasy lemon squeezy. Then of course we've got our labels, and we've seen that the labels have got these colors and the whole theme that we established right at the beginning of the video in theme set, that they're all established right here. A little thing, I've said color equals position. That just means that where we said color equals rank over here, so we knew we were going to create a legend using the color aesthetic. We define the label for that by saying color equals position over there. Okay, I hope that was useful. We're going to do more of these kind of advanced ggplot videos, and so this is the second in the sort of advanced series, but I'm going to do lots of these, looking at really the nuts and bolts, the subtleties, the nuances of how to get your plot to look exactly the way you want it. Hope that was useful. Stay and watch another video. Don't ever change, don't do drugs, always do your best. Take care. Booyah shaka. Bye.